We all love Gear 5. Watching Luffy bounce around like a cartoon god is peak One Piece. But have you ever wondered what happens when an awakening goes wrong? Dr. Vegapunk dropped a bombshell on Egghead Island. Devilfruits carry the wills of the past. So what happens if your mind isn't strong enough to tame that will? You don't become a god. You become a monster, a mindless beast trapped in your own body. Today, we are exposing the top 5 characters who failed to awaken properly, or are terrifyingly close to being consumed by their own powers. And trust me, number 1 is a ticking time bomb that could end the entire series. Let's start with the only confirmed failures in the series, the Jailer Beasts of Impel Down. When we first met Minotaurus, Minozebra, and the rest of the crew, Crocodile called them awakened zones. At the time, we just thought, wow, they heal fast and are super durable. But looking back, these guys are terrifying. Notice anything missing? They don't talk. They don't strategize. They act on pure instinct, dripping snot and following orders like trained pets. The theory here is simple. The will of the animal inside the fruit, the cow, the zebra, the koala, overpowered the human soul of the user. They gained the strength and the recovery speed, but they paid for it with their humanity. They are essentially permanent animals wearing human skin. It's a fate worse than death, and it proves that awakening isn't just a power-up, it's a battle for your soul. And honestly, being a snot-nosed koala forever is a hard pass for me. Next up, let's talk about the Straw Hat's resident doctor, Chopper. For years, fans have debated, is Monster Point an awakening? The answer is yes, but a broken one. Normal awakenings happen when your mind and body catch up to your fruit's power. But Chopper? He cheated. He used the Rumble Balls to drug his fruit into a forced awakening before his body was ready. Remember his first transformation at Eni's lobby? He didn't just get big, he lost everything. He couldn't recognize his friends, he attacked anything that moved, and his life force was draining by the second. Number 3 is controversial, so hear me out. The world's strongest creature, Kaido. Kaido had the Uo Uo no Mi model Siryu. He was arguably the strongest hockey user alive. So, why didn't we see a cloud scarf? Why didn't we get a confirmed awakened Kaido text box? The leading theory is that Kaido couldn't awaken. Remember, awakening requires your mind to align with the nature of the fruit. The Seiryu is a legendary azure dragon, a guardian deity known for protection and benevolence. Who is Kaido? A tyrant, an oppressor, a drunk who enslaved a country for weapon factories. His personality was the exact opposite of what his fruit stood for. The fruit literally rejected him. He hit the physical ceiling of power. But because he couldn't align his spirit with the guardian dragon, the fruit refused to give him that final level of power. It's poetic justice. Kaido wanted to be Joy Boy, but he couldn't even be a proper dragon. He was strong, sure, but he was a spiritual failure. Speaking of failures, don't fail to hit that subscribe button. I promise it won't consume your soul. It just helps me buy more meat. At number 2, we have the Iron Balloon herself, Charlotte Linlin. Big Mom is a force of nature, but have you noticed her hunger pangs? When she craves wedding cake or semla, she enters a trance state. She loses all reason, attacks her own children, and physically changes, getting lighter, eyes swirling, breathing fire. This feels suspiciously like a glitched awakening. We know she got her powers in a, let's say, traumatic way involving Mother Carmel. It's possible that Big Mom never truly mastered the fruit. Instead, the fruit's hunger for souls is constantly battling her childish mind. When she uses her life or slave technique, she is channeling pure domination. But she lacks the refined control we see from other awakened users. She's just a giant toddler with a nuclear weapon. If she had actually aligned her mind with the fruit, she might have been unstoppable. Instead, she was just a slave to her own hunger, a terrifying example of power without control. And finally, the most dangerous potential failure in history, Marshall D. Teach. Blackbeard is the only man with 2 devil fruits. The Yami Yami no Mi is unique. It doesn't let him turn into an element, it just absorbs everything. Pain, light, gravity, and eventually, maybe even himself. The darkness fruit is all about infinite gravity and absorption. Awakening usually expands your power to the environment. If Blackbeard awakens, he might not just turn the ground into darkness. He might create a literal black hole that he can't close. The risk here isn't just becoming a beast, it's ceasing to exist. The nature of the void is to consume. If Blackbeard's greed, his defining trait, syncs up too perfectly with the fruit's desire to take everything, he might accidentally trigger a singularity that swallows the world and him. He thinks he's the master of the board, but he might just be the first guy to accidentally delete himself from reality. And honestly, that would be a fitting end for the guy who betrayed Pops. Before we wrap this up, I have to mention the one character who might be the missing link between human and monster, the Warden of Hell, Magellan. We talked about the Jailer Beasts at number 5, but have you looked at Magellan's ultimate move, Venom Demon? Normal poison is purple. This stuff? It's glowing red. It infects non-organic material and it spreads like a plague. It literally looks like a devil growing out of him. Many fans theorize that this is his awakening, but unlike the others, he's terrified of it. He only uses it as a literal nuclear option because it seems like the poison is on the verge of consuming him too. If the Jailer Beasts are what happens when you lose your mind to the fruit, Magellan is what happens when you're fighting every single second to keep the monster on a leash. One slip up, and Impel Down doesn't just lose a warden, it melts into the sea. So Awakening isn't just a free power-up, it's a test. Pass it and you become a god like Luffy. Fail it, and you end up a mindless cow in Impel Down or a black hole in space. Which devil fruit do you think has the worst side effects? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.